Hey, it's Colin here. I've got something really important I wanted to talk to you about. These and these. So you might have thought, oh, I'm not into mobile photography, I'm out. Hold on a sec. Do me a favor and listen to the end and see what I've got to say, because it's not probably what you expect. This video is going to tell you everything you need to know about Project Indigo, an exciting new camera app that Adobe has released. Now, this video is going to explain how everything works, the capabilities, and even a lot of real-world examples showing comparisons of photos. And to keep things simple, I've released another video which is just a no-nonsense user guide that tells you exactly how to use every feature in it, but doesn't really go into the explanations. All the explanations are in this video, so I recommend watching both. So yeah, we had film cameras, we moved to digital got better, and then the DSLR. And then recently, for a lot of photographers, we made the jump into mirrorless cameras. For me, the big reason is video, low light, higher dynamic range. But one thing you don't see much of these days is these. The point and shoot camera. Why is that? And there's a couple of reasons. Like, these were mainly used by casual photographers who are now using these, whether it be an iPhone or it be an Android version. Let's quickly talk about the advantages of the mobile phone. Outside of the obvious, they're small, light, and you always have them with you. I could not hold a dozen mirrorless cameras in my hands at the same time. They have larger and brighter screens than any viewfinder on any camera. The other advantage is you can edit on exactly the same device. You can't really do that for cameras. So you can take a photo and you can edit it right away. And then you have the ability to share it, post it, whatever. You can do everything on one device. So the disadvantages of mobile phones is a lack of manual controls. The quality usually looks pretty bad. It might look alright on the screen, but then when you zoom in, you see it's soft, it's over sharp, and it's oversaturated. In fact, it's over-processed. And then the thing is just the overall optics when you're looking at bigger glass, bigger sensor compared to the small sensor and lens. Now, interestingly enough, there are some things like this is a lens for a mobile phone. I'll be doing a review on it soon if you're curious about this. So here's a quick check-in. When's the last time that you really looked at the quality of mobile photography, or are you still kind of comparing it to what you saw 10 years ago, 15 years ago, even a year ago? Things are changing very quickly. So some of you may know, some of you may not know, I'm an ambassador for Google Pixel. No, and it's not about that. We will not talk about that, but these are all Google Pixel phones. So every time they release a new one, they send it to me. And I get to test it, I get to use it. So here's the interesting thing. Every time I get a new version, and by the way, this is the Pixel 9 Pro, this is the latest one, it gets better and better and better. But the interesting thing is when I look at the hardware doesn't change that often. Even on the iPhone, the hardware doesn't change that much. So why do they consistently get better and better every year? A lot of it has to do with the software. And that's what I really want to talk about is computational photography, or using software to create better photographs. I like to shoot through, the real camera, the big boy, the big girl camera, right? So wherever I'm going, I don't always have this with me, but sometimes I'm on trips and I'm carrying this big lens and I'm carrying this big camera, and maybe I'm on a hike. And sometimes I decide I want to compromise. I'm like, I don't really want to carry that with me. I would rather just carry a phone with me. We probably want the phone to shoot as well as it can. Alright, so whether you think big cameras are going to be replaced with phones, or whether you think the big cameras are going to shrink down and be a more comfortable form factor, something is going to change in the future. But let's talk about today. Adobe has put out a brand new phone app called Project Indigo. Right now it's in beta. You can download it for free. It's for the iPhone only. It's not on Android at this time. So we can download this for free and start using it right now. So Project Indigo uses computational photography. In fact, in some ways it's similar to what the Pixel phones have been doing for a little while, but Adobe's got their own spin on it. So essentially what it does is it takes a burst of photos, up to 30 photos. And the reason it does that is it can take all those photos, align them and merge them together, and drastically reduce the amount of noise in the shadows. But also by bracketing or underexposing, it can capture all the details in the highlights. And so one of the strengths is it has the ability to shoot in RAW. So you can shoot in Jpeg or you can shoot RAW and Jpeg. If you want to shoot Pro RAW, you have to have the Pro phone. Using Indigo, the last few versions of the iPhone, you can be using the non-Pro version and still shoot in RAW. But even if you are using the Pro version, there's some advantages to Indigo that we don't have on the native phone app. In fact, since I've been testing this, I haven't been using the native phone app anymore. One of the things, it's HDR native. So that means when you're taking these photographs, by default, it's capturing HDR. Then it's a graceful fallback into SDR. Okay, so hold on a second. What is HDR? HDR is what you see on your phones right now. It's, if you go to the Instagram app, you'll see it. If you're in your phone app, you'll see it. If you have an HDR TV, you'll see it. It's where the photos just almost seem to glow. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's real HDR. So it's not the HDR effect that we were doing, you know, with Photoshop and Lightroom and processing. This is real HDR, high dynamic range, meaning showing more details in the shadows and the highlights simultaneously. So instead of the bright areas blowing out, those bright areas have detail. They have color in there. And that's why when you look on here and you look at some of the photos, which obviously I can't show in this video, they just almost seem to glow because they're showing that full dynamic range. It's more like a real experience. So this is starting to become more common. Say, for example, like my monitors, I've got BenQ monitors. They support HDR. Most of the Apple displays now are XDR, which is their word for HDR. And once you've started looking at a few HDR photos, you really don't want to go back and look at SDR photos. They just look dull in comparison. And Adobe's goal with Indigo is to make the photos look more like an SLR and less like a phone. So when you look at a phone and it looks good on the screen, it's designed to really show up nicely on that little screen. But if you look at it on a larger monitor, then it starts to fall apart and it doesn't look as good. So when you're using Indigo to shoot, and maybe you're shooting a RAW and a JPEG, this is what happens. You shoot the photo, it shoots multiple photos, it aligns and merges them together, and then what it does for the RAW file, and it applies a profile to it. And this actually uses the adaptive profile that I've talked about before in Camera Raw and Lightroom. And then it uses that to apply preliminary adjustments to that RAW file. It doesn't bake the settings into the RAW file. It keeps it as a RAW file, but uses that profile to give it a really good starting place. Now, the other side is it goes into a JPEG. And the adaptive profile, if you're familiar with it, it creates two different profiles. It creates one for HDR and it creates a separate one for standard dynamic range. So that way both of those are going to look good. So if you are using an HDR display or you're looking at it on a phone, maybe on Instagram or something that supports it, you're going to see the HDR version. If you're on hardware that doesn't support that, then you're going to see the standard version. So one of the things that's really interesting is when you look at it, it really preserves the details in the photographs. So I'm going to show some examples. So they don't over apply the adjustments to make it look fake. It looks a lot more realistic. Another thing about photography is they always tell you don't use digital zoom. You always want to use optical zoom, meaning, you use the lens in its native resolution, and that's going to look good. When you use digital zoom, typically speaking, you use digital zoom. It's just the equivalent of just taking that photo, blowing it up into Photoshop and then cropping it, and then you just lose quality. But that's another great thing about computational photography is when it's building these photos out of these bursts, merging them together, you can zoom in and you can get much better quality even with a digital zoom. And so they're combining more of Adobe's technology you might be familiar with, super resolution. I've also done tutorials on those. So some of the cameras in there are using super resolution to zoom in, and even though you may not be at the native optical focal length, it's able to use that super resolution to enhance that photo and make it look good at different zooms, and it does work really well. And this is actually something that the Pixel has done quite well too, but I feel like Indigo is actually doing an even better job. So when you do shoot in RAW and JPEG, you're not going to see that RAW file until you're editing it. So what you're going to see is the JPEG. And then when you go to share it, you're also going to see the JPEG. But the JPEG is using a newer technology which supports HDR. So it's going to look great as the JPEG on the phone. Now, if you want to use the RAW file, you can edit into Lightroom on the phone, or you can use Camera Raw, Lightroom on the desktop. Lightroom Classic, as you know, now has this HDR support. Once again, I've also done tutorials on that. So all the different technologies are coming together. There's two more pieces of technology that are being used on the phone here. One of them is the AI noise reduction. This can actually be used as well as the reflection removal, which doesn't remove reflections on glasses and things like that. It works on plate glass, so like shooting through windows and different things like that. Those are also incorporated into the app along with full manual controls. Another advantage of good computational photography is low light. So you're shooting at night or in low light, because it's capturing all these photos, it's going to reduce the amount of noise significantly, and you can get good low light photos. Now, here's something to bear in mind. When we're shooting in regular photo mode, this is constantly capturing. There's zero lag, so when you hit that shutter button, boom, it gets that exact moment. Now, it may take a moment for it to compute and put everything together, but you're going to get that exact moment. But when you're in night mode, in a different mode, it takes a little bit longer for it to compute, so you're not necessarily going to get zero shutter lag in the night mode. And we can also do long exposure. Another thing to bear in mind when we do the long exposure, if you don't put this on a tripod, you're not going to get good results. It needs to be perfectly stable. Remember, this is in beta. This is early beta. It's just come out. So this is going to develop, and it's going to get better and better over time. All right, so I know there could be a lot of different responses and different thoughts. What I'm trying to do is just spark a conversation, get us thinking about, hey, where is the future of photography going? What is it going to look like? Let me know in the comments underneath what you think. Are you like, I'm going to be holding on to my big camera forever no matter what? Even if the phone shoots better, I'm still shooting my big camera. That's fine. Or are you like, I cannot wait to get rid of my big camera and just shoot with a phone? Or maybe you're already shooting with a phone and you're happy with the results. I'm curious to know your thoughts. Chime in underneath in the comments and let me know. And by the way, if you're new, welcome to the cafe. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and you won't miss any of my tutorials. And until next time, I'll see you at the cafe.